Today we explore an exciting theme.
How to live more consciously after a life-altering event. Berny Bluman's story.
In one place, the power of your voice with Mike Murphy.
Hey everybody, welcome to the weekly podcast, The Power of Your Voice. And I'm your host, Mike Murphy. And our intention each week is to bring you inspirational type stories that are going to motivate you and inspire you to become the best version of yourself. And I'm super excited about today's guest, Berny Bluman, that had an unfortunate accident a little over 20 years ago that put him in a wheelchair. And now he's an advocate for not only people that had disabilities, but for people that have unseen disabilities, perhaps depression or mental anxiety or things. These are the people that he loves to work with, and he's a true inspirational kind of guy, and I'm so excited that he's here today. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. I'm very happy to be here.
And it's interesting, I'm preparing today and then all weekend. We're doing a webinar next week on Tuesday about mindset, right? And so I'm super excited to get into your mindset, which is super powerful, super inspiring to me. So if you would, take us back. First of all, where did you grow up? Where were you born?
I born here in Medellin.
Okay.
And I live almost all my life here. And I went to other countries for a while, but most of my life I've been here in Medellin, in Colombia.
Any time in America?
Just for vacation.
Yeah, because your English is very good.
Oh, thank you.
So let's go back. So up until the accident, what was your life like? What were you doing?
Well, I had a real normal life. I was just a guy with, I had my job. I was 31 at the moment of the accident. And I was working in my family's factory. And I just dedicated my life to the job, to party, to just live, and a lot of sports. And I didn't know anything about disability. We in Colombia, we didn't have, but that time, right now it's also difficult. But that time we didn't know anything about disabilities. We didn't have the opportunity to share with people with disabilities. So I didn't know anything about disability. I wasn't prepared to an accident or to live with a disability in that time.
So you have this unfortunate accident and you find yourself paralyzed from the waist down. What was your immediate reaction emotionally, mentally? What was that like?
Okay, first of all, right now, I don't think it was unfortunate.
Okay.
I really appreciate the opportunity to live with my disability. I live very well with that. And so I don't think it was something bad for me. And on the opposite, it was very good for my life. But of course, it was a shock. But the time that I had the accident, I just, I thought, well, that all, of course, something very bad happened. I start to not feeling my legs, and I didn't know anything about spinal cord injury, but I knew that something very bad was happening. So I just thought, I remember that I thought, okay, this is very bad, but this is not going to change my life on a bad way. I think I can live with it. I think I can deal with it. And I just started to think, okay, what is this, and what I'm going to do with it.
Wow.
So I think that was my first thought. Of course, after that, when I realized that I had that spinal cord injury, I started to learn what was it, what were my limits, and what actually I really could do.
Yeah.
So I focus on that.
Well, I'll tell you, when you corrected me for calling it an unfortunate accident, it really inspires me. You know, I was having problems with my PowerPoint on my laptop. I was wondering, I want to throw it off the balcony. So that's quite a testimony to the power of a positive mindset. So you have this accident. I'm assuming you had to change jobs or find a new way to support yourself? What was that like?
By the time, no. I was for a few months on home. I used to live alone at that time. I was 31. It was about time to go out. But by the time of the accident, of course, I was living in a very small place. So my wheelchair didn't fit there. So I had to go back to my mother's house. And I was for a few months on home doing therapy and stuff. And I remember something very important to me. Of course, my family was very important on this process. But my brother came to me one day and he said, I know that you can feel or move your legs, but your head is perfectly okay. And I need you in the office. You leave the office in a mess, and I need you there. So I don't know what you need to go back to the office. And my office was okay. They didn't need me, but that really helped me to understand that my legs changed, but not my mind, my life, my possibilities. And actually, I came back. I went back to the office and started to work. I changed something. Yes, I was on sales, and but that time I didn't know how to travel with a wheelchair. It was very difficult at the time, and so I changed my role, but I keep the job in the factory. And a few years later, when I really understood what was disability, how the people on my country live with disability, and I knew that I had a lot of tools to live well, because I had the resources to do it, but not everyone.
Yeah.
So I decided to change my job and start to work with inclusion and disability and all that I can do to change that on my country.
Yeah, fantastic. So your brother actually gave you a pretty nice gift there. You know?
Yes.
Just is older or younger brother?
Older.
Yeah. What a beautiful thing to do, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
They are fantastic. My family was a key on everything, because they understood, like I did, that this was a change, but not a tragedy.
Well, yeah, and the other thing I love about your story, because, a lot of people, they have this happen to them, and perhaps they're a believer in God or spirituality or religion or something like that, and they use their faith to get through it, right? Or some people don't have faith, they have an accident, and then they find faith and they use that to get through it. But you pretty much are, everything is within you. You have a power within you, a strength within you, and you don't really rely on anything outside of you. Is that pretty accurate?
Yes, most of it, yes. I believe a lot on myself and on the people who are around me, but of course I believe in something else. I believe in God.
Yeah.
I'm Jew, and I believe that it's something else that helps us, of course.
Okay.
But most of my strength, I really believe that it was for me. When I think about my accident, I don't think why anymore, or if I had something to do with my accident to change the life of the people. What I think is what I can do with the things that I have. So I decided to do something very good with something that's supposed to be bad.
Yeah. I talk a lot in my teaching and writing and what have you about there's a victim mentality in the world today, and I think the media and the governments are trying to get everybody to be a victim. Mm-hmm. And because when you're a victim, then you're not a creator. And so once you become a victim, you've given your power away. And so now you have no power to create the life that you truly desire. But that never happened to you. You never saw yourself as a victim. Always somebody that's going to create something out of this. I don't see it as some unfortunate. I'm not a victim. I'm going to deal with this. And you do have faith in God. But more importantly, you have faith in yourself and your family, the love of your family, and you went out there and you created your life back. You didn't really lose much.
That's right. That's right. And I believe strongly on what you said. I hate to be a victim. I hate when people live like a victim, because I think that we can change our own lives. We can do whatever we want with our situation, whatever it is. And I actually do this
Right.
for my life.
Right.
I'm a speaker,
Right.
and I have a speech to tell the people my story and to tell them it's just a problem. It's just a step on the way, and you have to decide what to do with it.
Yeah.
You can see the step and decide, I don't want to move. I don't like this step. I don't like this path, and it's your choice. But if you decide to do something with it, you can do something bigger than what you had before. And that's why I told you that I don't see that this accident like something very bad, because I create a life after the accident, and my life right now is marvelous. And I see myself, the other self that didn't happen, that doesn't have the accident, and I don't think he lives as happy as I live.
It was that challenge, it was that hardship, it was overcoming where you became something greater than what you were before.
Yeah. And I believe in parallel universes and stuff like that. I know I'm a geek, and I believe that there's some other Bernie in some other
that didn't have the accident,
that didn't have the accident, and I don't like the life that he have. I like mine. I like this one. I like this one.
Well, you know, I work a lot with cancer patients, and almost every cancer patient I've ever worked with has told me cancer woke me up. Cancer was a gift because it woke me up to what truly mattered. Now, I've never experienced that, but I've witnessed it with over 100 people. And that's a powerful testimony, because you're saying the same thing. Because I think for a lot of us, we take life for granted until we look at challenges right in the face. And you were looking at a big one, and you dealt with it, and you overcame it, and you became something greater. And I too also play around with those parallel universes and say, okay, if I hadn't done this, I'd done that, where would that person be, right? And that's fun to play with, and maybe it is true, who knows? So let me ask you this, so today, tell me about who you work with today. What kind of people are you working with?
I started to work with accessibility on my first thought in that time was to try to change the accessibility here in Colombia that doesn't exist. And it was 15 years ago.
Did you get anywhere?
Yes. Of course, it's. I mean, the way is too long, and there's a lot of things to do. But yes, I saw a change, and I feel it. And the people around me who live with disability or who needs accessibility, because not only people with disability needs it. And I think we are marking a path. I know that the way is long, but yes, we achieved something, yes. And then I saw that there's some other things that I had to do, work with I don't know in English, the people who needs to work and have disabilities. And it's very hard here because people who doesn't have disabilities doesn't believe on the capability that we have. So I started
as far as hiring them, you mean hiring people with disabilities?
Yes.
There's one thing. There's getting around town, which is a bigger issue. Okay, but then there's the other issue of employment.
Yes.
So first you started working with trying to make like ADA in America, you know, the American with Disabilities Act, where everybody had to put in bigger bathrooms and ramps and what have you. And I'll talk about that in a second. And then secondly, but then you started working with people that can't get hired because they have disabilities.
Yes, and that's because our view of people with disabilities is inabilities.
Yeah.
So we think we used to think that people with disabilities can do anything, and okay, we cannot do a lot of things, of course, like everyone. I mean, I'm not a doctor.
Right.
I can do surgery, for example. So of course we have our limitations, but we have a lot of things that we can do very, 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 very good, sometimes better, and people without disabilities have to understand it. So this is my line of work with companies, helping them to understand this and to understand how their company is going to grow with hiring people with disabilities.
So you'll basically go into a company and make them aware of this situation.
Yes.
And I'll make them aware that there's a great pool of potential candidates here that they can hire, especially I would imagine like call centers and places like that. You tell me.
No, everything.
Everything.
I mean, we used to think that.
Yeah.
That okay, you have disability, you use a wheelchair, you can work in a call center. No, you can work in everything.
Right.
I mean, what you can do when people with disabilities like a wheelchair called me and said, you know about a job with that the people with disabilities can do, and I said, what you can do? I don't know. If is your wheelchair your ability? No.
Right.
If you're an accountant or a lawyer or a manager, just what you can do, and you can do it with a wheelchair or without it, or seeing or not seeing is the same. That's my job, to say to the company, okay, just open your mind, open your jobs, and just let the people to come and to show you what they can do.
Can you share with us some success stories that you've had with some companies here that embrace that?
Yeah, sure. I have a very nice story, very, very nice, because it's a friend of mine. When I had my accident, I met a guy who was studying. He was a doctor, but he was starting to study urology. And the teacher said, you have a wheelchair because he had an accident, and you cannot be a neurology because you cannot do surgery. He was very sad, and I said to him, let me know, let me learn, because I don't think you're the only doctor with a wheelchair. And I talk to you later. And then I called him and I said, okay, here's your wheelchairs. All of them stand, and you can do surgery in your wheelchair. So just go to the teachers and say that you're going to be the best urology in Colombia.
Wow.
And he is.
Wow.
He is the best.
Wow.
The best. He goes everywhere doing speech. He's the best.
How does that make you feel?
Fantastic, and because I know that we can do a lot of things, and I know that we have to go through a lot of mind issues that people have, and that's exactly my goal.
Yeah.
I want to change that on people, and I want people to understand that we have a difference, but the difference is not a problem. It's just a difference.
So you started working that. I'm telling you my little ADA story from America. I'm kind of ashamed of it, but then I came full circle. So when they introduced the American with Disabilities Act, all the business owners, we had to spend a lot of money to widen our bathrooms, put ramps in. And in my particular case, the building that I was running my business out of was like over 100 years old. And so we got grandfathered in not having to do that, right? Because it was almost impossible to do, because you start opening walls of a 100-year building, no telling what you're going to find. You could go on forever, right? So I kind of, I knew I had to do something. And then what happened to me was my, at the time, 38-year-old wife at the time, her cancer had spread to where she was in a wheelchair now. And so now I was wheeling her around. And so I really got to understand what it's like for people with disabilities to just get around town. And when I walk around Medellin, I mean, the lawyers have a field day with this in America, okay? Any business that has one thing out of whack, they can't wait to sue us, right? But when I walk around Medellin, we have all these beautiful trees and it's so green, but it just ruins the sidewalk. And I'm thinking, my goodness, if someone's in a wheelchair, it's just not right. It's so unfair. I do see some newer buildings being built with ramps and other things, larger restrooms or what have you. But how would you compare Medellin to like a city in America when it comes to ADA?
I'm going to tell you a story. The first time that I went to America, 1 year, 2 years after the accident, my brother was living there, and we were going to a restaurant or something like that. And I said, let me call and see if they have a ramp and if they have maybe a bathroom. He looked at me and he said, what? Here you don't have to call anywhere. If you go and they don't have a ramp or a bathroom, you just say to close the place. It's just like that. Here we are miles away. People just don't think about that. We have a problem with the law. We have a lot of laws, yes, but people used to go around them, and it's very difficult to move if you have a disability here. Medellin is maybe the better place to live with disability in Colombia, but we're miles away or somewhere else.
So we still got a lot of work to do.
Yes.
Okay, so you started out, you're trying to fix that, and that you button your head with the government and says, the heck with that. Now let's work with guys with disabilities and employers and try to bring that together. What about working with individuals? Do you do that as well?
Not as a job.
Okay.
I used to receive calls of people who had an accident or something, and I go and talk with them for hours, and with the family, and just to tell them that everything's going to be okay. And when you experience something like this, you need someone who live it to tell you that everything's going to be okay. I remember when I had my accident, a lot of people, my friends and people who came to me at home, and they said, don't worry, everything will be okay. And I said, yes, because you walk.
Yeah.
I need something who tell me that everything's going to be okay. So I do that.
Did you ever find a person like that after your accident?
It's funny because it was 2001 or 2002, and the internet was anything. So it was very difficult to see someone or to meet someone who has a disability. I met one or two, yes, they helped me a lot, but it was very difficult. So I was in Bogota, and I went to a internet cafe, and I was in the computer, and I saw a forum in the internet in English with of people with disabilities, with spinal cord injury actually, and I said, wow, this is fantastic. I'm going to ask something and see what happened. I asked something, and the next day in the internet, 20 years ago, right now, next day is
Right.
The next day someone answered me, and I said, wow, this is fantastic. So I came to Medellin. I went to a friend, and I said, I want to do this in Spanish. And we did that. It was a website for 10, 12 years.
Wow.
And we were almost 10,000 people with spinal cord injury in Spanish sharing our experiences.
Wow.
Until Facebook and Twitter and everything, and so I have to close it.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine there are groups on Facebook, though, where people can join and find support. Yeah.
There's a lot.
Well, that's fantastic. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this. Let's say someone's watching us right now or listening to us, right? They got full use of their legs and their arms, but they're just stuck in a rut. They can't get out of this stinking thinking. This continuous loop of, my life sucks, I'm not good enough, I can't make any money. What would you say? What kind of mindset would you suggest to a person like that? What kind of advice would you give?
What I thought when I had bad moments, because I had bad moments, of course, it was okay. This is my life right now. This is what I have. If I can change it, I'm going to work on change it. If what I have, I can't change, so I have to work with it. I have to decide. I work with it. I live with it, or I don't want to live anymore. That's a choice. The choice of I don't want to live with this. I want to just sit and wait what happened. It's a choice. But if you choose to take your life and live with it, life is very short. It's really very short. So you decide if you want to live it right and well, whatever happens to your life, or decide to wait and wait 20 years or 30 years until you're dead. It's not a lot. So it's your choice.
Yeah.
That's what I say to them. It's your choice. You can choose live the best with what you have, or you can choose to sit and wait.
Yeah. What resonated with me while you were speaking, two things. One, a lot of people are walking around but not really living. They haven't just been buried yet, but they're not living, so they're not living their life to the fullest, and they're walking around. Thoreau said that most men lead lives of quiet desperation, and that's what I see, a lot of people like that. But the other thing that came to mind is a powerful prayer that I love, which is called the Serenity Prayer, which is give me wisdom of what I can change and what I can't change, and that kind of things. And that's kind of what the acceptance was for you, correct?
Yes, exactly.
So what's your goal now? The next year or two. What do you want to do?
Well, I love my family. My goal is to live the most of the time happy with my family, of course. Enjoy what I do. Right now, I'm focused on my speech and being a speaker. So I enjoy a lot of that thing. My goal is to go the most places that I can, and to reach the most people that I can.
So if someone wanted to hire you to speak to their company or to their crowd and to come in and inspire and motivate, how would they get a hold of you?
I have presence in almost all of the important networks, social networks. I'm on Berny Bluman on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter.
Let me get the spelling right. Berny, right?
Yes.
And Bluman, Bluman.
MAN, right.
And so they can find you on LinkedIn is probably the best way to connect if they want to get you to come and speak to them. And I'm assuming you could speak via Zoom as well? You could give a talk?
Yes, of course. Well, that's something very good that COVID bring us. I do that a lot, Zoom or Meet or virtual conference, and yes, and I can do that.
And you can deliver in 2 languages.
I see that right now.
Well, I have to tell you, it's been a joy to meet you. It's been a joy to have you on our show. You've inspired me to not get upset over the little things. Don't sweat the little things, right? And be grateful for what we do have, which is mobility, health, and then more importantly, what can we do to help others to find, freedom? What can we do to make the place a little better for people to get around on a wheelchair? We can all contribute something to that cause.
Of course.
Right?
Yes.
So I just hope people will reach out to you, ask you to speak to their group, their club, or what have you. And it's been a pleasure to meet you, and I'm super grateful you were here today.
I'm very happy to be here, Mike, and thank you really for the invitation.
So guys, I hope you were inspired by Bernie's story, and that you're going to realize that you're not a victim, that you're a powerful creator. And then when you step out as a powerful creator, you take your power back, and you can overcome anything that appears to be a challenge that you can't overcome. You have the power within inside your heart to overcome anything. We'll be right back. Hey guys, we're ready for the Mountains of Hope segment of the show. I hope you enjoyed our time we spent with Bernie. What an inspiration he was to me. And, you know, I'm starting to think about Mountains of Hope now, whether we're wheelchair friendly or not, right? So I think for the most part we are. We might have to put a couple ramps up. The only thing they won't be able to do is the Camino de Miguel, which is our walking path that goes around the entire piece of the property. Anyways, now it's time for our Mountains of Hope segment, and joining us from Mountains of Hope is one of our fine health coach and leaders, Kelly. Welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
And what do you got for us today?
So we're going to talk about the brain health. I mean, how the tips that we can actually start using today to improve our brain health. I mean, it's a 3-pound supercomputer, like seriously, more than 100 billion nerve cells in our brain. I mean, seriously, It says that even the connection that our brain creates is bigger than the universe. So it's so much power there because our brain determines how we think, how we feel, how we act, how we relate with other people, how we relate with the opposite sex. I mean, who we are.
Right.
So.
And here's the thing, when it's damaged, the people don't have a fair fighting chance. And there's a lot of people walking around with brain damage that aren't even aware of it. And that's one of the beautiful things about Mountains of Hope is we have a very expensive piece of equipment that we can measure. We put it's like about a 45-minute process, and we put these mapping things, like I think there's 24 of them. We put them on your head, and we can tell you, hey, how you're firing, how you're wiring, what your neurons are doing, and where you're headed. More importantly, are you headed for Parkinson's? Are you headed for Alzheimer's? And that's just one thing that we offer there because we want you to be aware that this stuff exists and that you can identify stuff early. Let's say, for example, like I just had this done, and they're saying, hey, you know, and Alzheimer's runs in my family with my grandfather, and I can already see my memory kind of, you know, and it shows. It really did show. So what can I do for nutritionally to strengthen the quality of my brain?
Yeah, there are a number of things that I really like the work of Dr. Amen, and there is a book that is called Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. And it's many things that he mentioned, but one of the things, for example, is protect your brain. I mean, from sleep deprivation, from toxic alcohol, drugs, nicotine, a lot of coffee. I'm not saying coffee, I'm saying abuse of coffee. Right. The other thing is like the physical protection. I mean, wear your seatbelt. If you're in a bike or a motorbike, wear your helmet. Even for kids, there are studies that even show that kids who actually play football, you know, when they hit with the head, I mean, that's one of the things that you will try to avoid as well.
Yes.
It's protecting, like physically protecting your brain. That would be number one.
Yes. What about things like hydration and fish oil?
Very important.
Because the brain wants fats, good fats, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So it will be that in our nutrition, like the fatty, the omega-3, the omega-6, also our, like for example, the intake of the type of oils that we use. Olive oil, coconut oil, avoid all of those that are canola oil, sunflower oil. I mean, that is the variation. The other thing is with the protein. Our brain loves good, lean protein. So that is one thing that we also can take care of it. Carbohydrates, for example, use the good ones. I mean, avoid all the processed food. Fruits, vegetables. The other thing is sugar. I mean, sugar is really, really damaging for our brain. So it's also taking care of the food that we take, and that's another way that we actually protect and feed our brain.
Yeah.
So that's one more.
You know, when I was growing up, my father worked for a company called Procter & Gamble.
Yep.
And Procter & Gamble was making all these vegetable oils, you know, and all the oils that they fry McDonald's French fries in. And now we know that those oils are some of the worst oils we can put in our body. And it's still going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people wouldn't even think about it like, well, you will have some people say that all oils are bad. Or people will say, oh, it's just because, and obviously we understand they are more accessible financially speaking.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's accessible, but what is it doing for my brain? What is it doing for my heart? Whatever is good for your brain is good for your heart. I'm gonna tell you, it's also good for your sex life. I mean, because it's the blood flow. So it's about taking care of all of these. So in the long term, whatever could be really cheap today will be really expensive for you.
So that's what happened. It was all about creating a cheaper oil so we could create cheaper food that causes all these health issues.
Absolutely.
And if you analyze it from a macro standpoint, and then let's say I'm a big food manufacturer, big food corporation, and my buddy's in big pharma corporation and my other buddy's in the big medical corporation. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Let's give them lousy food to ruin their immune system, make them obese, get them ill, push them into those other big corporation systems, and voila, nothing but money at the expense of poor human beings.
People's health. Yeah.
Man, let me ask you this, because, you know, I'm a mind guy. And is there a difference, in your opinion? We know the brain is the hardware. You can cut it out of my head and you can look at it. There's a brain. And we cut it in half. There's the left side. There's the right side. But what about the mind? Is there a difference?
It's being said that it is.
Yeah.
It's different. Your brain is different from your mind. The idea of taking care of your brain, exercising your brain, and working out your brain, and all these things is obviously something that, that helps our health, but then our mind, our soul, that information that is in there, both will affect each other.
Right. So, for example, I could have the healthiest brain in the world. No sugar, no alcohol, no smoking, fish oil, and my brain, you cut my brain out of my head and it's perfect. But someone's programmed me, okay, as a child to hate a certain ethnicity or to hate a certain type of people. And so I grow up with this hatred, okay, in my mind, not in my brain, but in my mind, which causes me to go out and harm or injury to these people that don't deserve it. So there is a difference. Now, I could have an injured brain that also causes me to where I can't control my mind. But the truth is, we have control over our mind. As long as the brain is somewhat healthy, we have control over our thoughts, or who's programming our thoughts, or what thoughts we allow to stay in the mind. Would you agree?
The thing is, one of the ways that we actually protect and take care of our brain is something is called killing the ants, automatic negative thoughts.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying is we need to start seeing ourselves as a whole being made of many parts. So the brain health will affect my mind health, and my mind health will definitely affect my brain health.
Yeah.
Because the more we have these negative thoughts, these negative things about myself, oh, that person's thinking bad about me, oh, this is gonna go wrong, oh, this is gonna happen, that actually starts to affect the connections that, you know, what you were talking about before about what we do in Mountains of Hope. You will see when a person has negative thoughts, I mean, how the brain actually does certain things that I'm not going to tell you guys. You have to get it done. and it shows. So I will say that, and it's like everything, our spirit, soul, and body. Sometimes many times we talk about them and we differentiate them, but they all affect each other. Yeah. Whatever you do to your body, like the physical thing, it will affect your inner being. Yeah.
So I had this interesting experience last night. I went outside, wanted to be quiet, more in nature, meditating, right? And you know, when you're meditating, you're focused on your breath and thoughts come and go. And I wasn't using a guided meditation, so I was just really focused on my breath. So thoughts would come, and you know, I would just watch them go and come. And then I started to pay a little closer attention to the positive, negative. Like because I was watching, where does that negative thought just come from, right? I mean, where do thoughts come from? No one can really tell us that, right? Now, we do know that, you know, we have things in our body like bacteria that will send signals to our brain. We have cells in our body will communicate to our brain, hey, I need some fluid or whatever, right? But the other thoughts are somewhat random to me. And what I realize is that I'm in control of what thoughts I allow to stay, what thoughts I allow to build on, what thoughts I get rid of ASAP. And so that is the mind part, right?
And it's the beauty of the neuroplasticity.
Yes.
Which it makes our responsibility and our choice. So now we have the responsibility of what stays there. Is what they're saying, that a bird can come and probably fly around you, but another thing is they make a nest in your head. Right. It's the same with our thoughts. The thing is that for whatever reason, I mean, we need to actually be able to catch them. I mean, like, is this helping me? Like this thought that I'm having right now, is this building me up? Is it healthy? Right. And then when we start being a little bit more conscious of them, when we start to actually being like checking like an investigator, like, okay, is this helping me? Okay, so I'm gonna stay on it. Is it not? So I immediately have to do something to help me change. Whether it is a saying, a word, for me, many times it's a verse from the Bible. People use mantras, people use music. So do it. Change the activity. Go for a walk. Nature, amazing. I would say it's a gift that we have from God. It's free. Sleeping, I mean, like sleeping for the brain, absolutely amazing. Learning something new, I mean, working out our brain, learn something new, a new word, a new language. I mean, it's about our brain is the place for concentration, for learning, for relating with others. So the quality of our brain will also determine the quality of our relationships. And lastly, I would say, I mean, how even studies show how sex, when it's making emotional bonding and intimacy, actually helps a lot of women. I mean, men and women, but for those women who think that it's just probably something for men, I mean, it really shows how actually increases your level of estrogen. I mean, the way that you feel with yourself.
Oxytocin.
Yes. So it's health for our body. So it's about for us to actually make sure, I mean, those thoughts, what you were saying before, identify them, stick to those that actually help and support, and replace the others.
Yeah. Well, Kelly, thank you for another segment from Mountains of Hope. We greatly appreciate it.
Pleasure.
And folks, I'll be right back. I got something special. I want to talk about the mind. So we'll be right back. Hey, listen, I hope you liked the show today. I hope Bernie, what a sweet man, right? I enjoyed that conversation a great deal. I hope he inspired you that no matter what you're going through in your life, that you can overcome it and you can find victory on the other end of whatever challenge that you face. And of course, Kelly was always great from Mountains of Hope with her segment on brain health. And I got a little extra time here, so I'm going to take it. I'm going to close the show with, we just did a mastermind, or a master class, I should say, a couple weeks ago on the power of your mind, your mindset. And it was very, very well received. And so I want to give that to you as a gift. So if you want to receive the entire webinar, it was a little bit over an hour long. We'd be happy to email it to you. Just go to MikeMurphyUnfiltered.com. Give us your name, your email address, and in the comments section, just put masterclass or mindset masterclass, and we'll send it to you, no charge, free of charge. And so I just want to cover some of the highlights because it was very well received. And so here we go. So first of all, what's more important than your mindset? Seriously. I mean, we just heard from Bernie here. And listen, I struggle with my mindset, okay? I think, to me, life is difficult. I'll never forget reading this book called The Road Less Traveled, 30 years ago, by M. Scott Peck. And the opening line is, life is difficult. And it is. And no matter what you're doing, life is still going to throw you curveballs. You know, children still get cancer. You know, people still get in car wrecks. People still die prematurely or get serious illnesses. People have financial challenges. Life is difficult. Life's going to throw you enough curveballs. So that's why we got to be in control of what? Our mindset. And the beautiful thing about mindset, it's one of the few things that we can control, you know, but we don't realize it, and we become lazy, and we quit controlling what goes into our mind. We can't really control the thoughts that come and go from our mind. We can control the thoughts that stay in our mind and the thoughts that we build upon. And that's what we got to understand. And we only understand that by being conscious and aware. Because let me tell you something, your mindset, what your belief systems are, determines everything in your life. Determines your health, determines your wealth, determines your relationships. It determines every one of the things. And if it's a mess, your life is going to be a mess. And one of the big issues that I see today in the world, and I think is really promoted by media and governments, and that's to make us all victims. You know, it's crazy how the media wants to make you a victim, and how governments want to make you a victim and make you dependent on them. Because when you're a victim, guess what? You have no power. You've given your power away. And we weren't born a victim. You, me, and everybody watching this show was born a powerful creator. And once you realize and say, hey, I no longer accept being a victim, no matter what the condition. Maybe you are a real victim. You know, maybe you were an innocent person and shot. Maybe you were an innocent person and raped. Maybe you were an innocent person and someone hit you, a drunk driver hit you. You're a real victim. But if you pick up that victim card and you play it long enough and you own it long enough, it becomes your way of life. And when you're a victim, you have no power. Now, the opposite is become a powerful creator. What does that mean? That means and it can be very hard and difficult, because let's say you're one of those real victims. Now I have to take responsibility that somehow, some way, I was responsible for that. Somehow I need to take responsibility for everything in my life. Whether it's justified or not, it doesn't matter, okay? Because there's a lot of real victims. But the real victims, like this gentleman, when I actually said to him, I said, you had this unfortunate. No, it wasn't unfortunate. It was just an accident, okay? I was the one trying to judge it, right? You know, and no, he goes, listen, I don't play that victim card. I'm a powerful creator, and I'm trying to create change here in Medellin with the way so that wheelchairs can go down the road and go into restrooms. I'm trying to create change in Medellin where employers realize that these people can be valuable employees and valuable assets to their company. That's becoming a powerful creator. That's taking a challenge and rising above it. So, you know, if you're walking around as a victim, step out of it. Step up, play big, realize who you really are, and inside of each and every one of us is the creator of all, which I call God. So we need to close these eyes. We need to go inside our heart, our soul, our essence, who we truly are, our soul, reconnect with that power, and create the life of your dreams. So anyways, that was one of the subjects that we started the Mindset Masterclass with. And my marketing team, you know, they made a lot of big promises to get people to attend this masterclass. And one was, big promise number one, they said, was we're going to show you how to reprogram your subconscious mind for success, which is a huge topic. I mean, literally, we could spend the entire day talking about the power of your subconscious mind. And it's a big promise. And I delivered on it. You know, people walked away and said, hey, well, first of all, a lot of people don't even really realize that there's a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And so that's step number one. So the subconscious mind is where we spend 95% of our life. We're not even aware of it. The conscious mind is right now. I'm speaking from my conscious mind. I'm conscious of everything going on, including everybody dropping things behind me here on the set. And so that's the conscious mind. But my subconscious mind actually saw that coming before it even made a noise. That's the power of the subconscious mind. So to give you an example, the subconscious mind is taking in over 1 million bits of information every second. Your subconscious mind, my subconscious mind, imagine, and some people say up to 10 million bits per second. You know, it's monitoring everything going in my body. I just had a test in Florida a couple days ago. Fascinating test. Where they take a laser camera. I have to put it under my tongue. So it's shaped, it's about this long, this thin, and I have to it's a laser camera and I put it under my tongue. And then I'm looking at a screen. What they're looking at is my vascular system, not my arteries, which are large. You know, I've seen my arteries. I've seen my blood flowing through my arteries below, which is incredible, okay? If you want to question there's a creator, just study one cell. You're made up of 50 trillion cells. Study one and realize how magnificent this organism is that's called a human body that houses our soul that we can have a physical experience in. But I'm sitting here watching this vascular thing, stuff so small you couldn't see it with a naked eye, and all the activity. I'm assuming it was blood cells. I don't know what it was. You know, it could. I'm imagining a small blood cells going deep into the capillaries and the vascular system. Right? It was just fascinating to see. And so, but the subconscious mind is measuring all this, and it's measuring everything going on around side of me. It's a supercomputer, the subconscious mind. So how does it work? Well, the subconscious mind is here to give me what it thinks I truly want. Well, how does it know what I truly want? Well, it hears everything I think. It hears everything I think. Imagine that. It hears everything I say. It feels everything I feel. And so based on what I tell it, by my thoughts and my words and my actions, it figures out what it is that I want. So if I walk around all day long and go, hey, my life sucks, I never catch a break, nothing ever going right my way, guess what? That supercomputer, that subconscious mind, is going to go through this million or maybe up to 10 million bits of data every second and look for 40 bits of data to deliver to my conscious mind. Why 40? Because that's all the conscious mind can handle. Try it. Try doing more than 3 things at once. Try reading a book, watching TV, and talking to your wife. Tell me how that works out for you. The conscious mind can't multitask like the subconscious mind, so it doesn't have that superpower. So what do? We get lazy, and now we're not conscious. I doubt if we're conscious more than 2 or 3% of the time. Some people say up to 5. And so when we're not conscious, the subconscious is running the show. Give you an example. Before, when you were 15, you were getting your learner's permit so you could learn how to drive a car, right? You were paying attention, man. You had both steering wheels, 10 and 2. You know, you turn and look. You got your turn signals. I mean, you are paying attention to everything driving this car while you're getting your learner's permit, especially when you're taking your test. Fast forward 10 years later. You got your hand like this. You're looking at your phone. You know, you might be smoking a cigarette, drinking a cup of coffee. The subconscious mind is now driving the car. I promise you, there's a lot of you that got up today, drove to work, and can't even remember what you did because you take the same path every day. You're not even conscious of what you're doing. You leave your house, say goodbye to the wife and kids. The next thing you know, you're at work. You don't even know what happened because you weren't conscious. The subconscious mind got you there. And the subconscious mind is a supercomputer. But we got to learn how to access it and then how to reprogram it. Let me tell you another dirty little secret, is that who programmed your subconscious mind? Your parents, media, your siblings, maybe some teachers, maybe some friends, maybe some friends of your parents. Because when we're born from birth to about age 8, we are in theta brainwave state. What is theta? Theta is a hypnotic trance. So when we're children, we're in a hypnotic trance, and we're learning through osmosis, we're learning through observation, we're learning through hearing, we're learning through seeing. And who do we spend most of our times with? Our parents. So if we have these amazing, great, functional parents that have this great spiritual life and great nutritious life and are teaching us all, we're going to be very well-balanced people. Unfortunately, most of us are not born into this functional family, this spiritual family, this healthy family. A lot of us are born into dysfunctional families. And that's who programs us. Or we don't have active parents, and now the media is programming us, or Disney is programming us, or God knows what else with the internet nowadays, what's programming us, right? Or perhaps we got some friends whose parents aren't that well equipped, and maybe they're teaching us or programming us to believe things that don't serve ourselves. Everybody has an agenda, and everybody has propaganda, and everybody's trying to program you to fit into their agenda or their propaganda. You know, I realized this early in the education system. It didn't make much sense to me. I go to school. I felt like I was in prison, honestly. I keep staring at the clock. When is the next break? I mean, none of it made sense to me. It was memorize, go home, read something, go home, memorize it, come back the next day, regurgitate it, and then forget about it. And, you know, that's why I didn't finish school. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. And I'm not saying school is bad, so don't take that the wrong way. What I'm trying to say is I felt like I was being programmed, which we are, to, you know, show up at 8, take your coffee break at 10, take your lunch break at noon to 12:30, come back, take another coffee break at 2, go home at 4. What are they training you for? To be a good little worker, to serve society, right? So the subconscious mind is a super thing. How do you unprogram it? Well, that takes a bit of work. So I'm not going to get into that today. Just go to MikeMurphyUnfiltered.com, give us your name and your email, and say, hey, I want the master class on Mastermind, and we'll send it to you, because that's a big subject. The other big promise that the marketing team made, we're gonna teach you how to eliminate self-sabotage. Let me tell you, I am the master at self-sabotage. You know, I've written 4 books and I've published 3. And the title of the book I always wanted to write, and I still might write someday, is called 3 Steps Forward, 2 Steps Back. Because that's how I lived my life. My entire life was lived like that, okay? I'm still prone to self-sabotage. My programming is so heavy and so deep, I'm still unpeeling that onion. I'm still going deeper into the soul and get rid of the programming, get rid of the belief systems that don't serve me. Some of them I actually enjoy, and I don't want to let go of them, right? So some of them, even though I'm aware of my shadow side, and sometimes I like to play in it, you know, and that's just the way it is. At least I'm doing it consciously. That's the difference. It's not controlling me. I'm aware of what I'm doing, and I can go to the edge and come back anytime I want. But so many of us self-sabotage because we were programmed that way. And what's worse than 3 steps forward and 2 steps back? That's 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. So at least in my life, I was going 3 steps forward, 2 steps. So I was netting 1 step going forward. So I was able to create an okay life. But the people that are only going 2 forward and 3 back. Some aren't even taking any steps forward. They're just on a straight path to nowhere. And so you guys, if that is you, I doubt if you're watching, if it is you. But if you are, or if you know someone like that, have them get this masterclass. I really believe it will help them, because we really go into how to avoid this self-sabotage and how to stop these setbacks. Like I said earlier, life is hard enough, okay? And when we add our own self-sabotage to it, most of my suffering has been self-induced in my entire life, okay? I've had some bad breaks, there's no doubt, okay? So we'll call those random bad breaks. And actually, those I'm pretty good at overcoming and not letting me affect me. But when I sabotage myself and I do the stupid thing over and over again, and I keep sabotaging myself, that is painful. And those are painful lessons to learn. The other big promise that the marketing team made is we're going to unlock the life of your dreams. Okay, well, who doesn't want to unlock the life of your dreams? And I'm sure that's why most people came to the masterclass. And we really showed them how they can do that. And it's not that complicated. The truth of the matter is, everything that I teach in this masterclass, everything I wrote about in the book, The Creation Frequency, everything that I teach in the online course, The Creation Frequency, it's all about how to use this process consciously, because you're already using it. Okay, that's the thing. Everybody is using this creation frequency process to a certain degree. I just do it with intentionality and take it one step further by using the power of your own voice, the power of sound, the power of theta brainwave frequencies, and the power of repetition to really reprogram that subconscious mind, to really tell your soul, your cells of your body, your mind, the world, what it is that you truly intend as an outcome. And once you have that knowledge and that power, then things start to happen. Miracles start to happen. Synchronicities start. The right people start to show up. The right ideas, the right funding, the right book, whatever it needs, whatever you need to fulfill the life of your dreams starts to show up. So they also promised some other things. So what they called secrets. So really, the truth is, they said, we're going to give you these 3 secrets, right? Let me tell you about secrets. There really are no secrets. You know, in the Bible, King Solomon is quoted as saying, there's nothing new under the sun. What did he mean by that? It's everything's already here. Okay, we just need to download it. And this is what I love about the practice of meditation. It's in my meditations that I'm able to connect to my source and ask questions and then download the answers. It's by creating powerful intentions of what I truly desire and telling my subconscious mind what to look for out there in those 10 million bits of information, what to find for me and to deliver to me. There's help out there. You don't need to do this by yourself. And the help comes in the form of a God, of a creator, of a co-creator. And more importantly, that power is within you already. You just need to learn how to access it, right? So one of the big secrets that they wanted to share everybody is there's one thing that we can pinpoint that keeps 99% of the people stuck in a rut. And what is it? It's balance. When I went to the mystery man in 1982's house, the first thing he taught me, he said, Mike, you have to create a life of balance. And if you do get the master class, we're going to send you some documents where you can take a little test. And you can say, okay, where is my life? Well, spiritually, it's pretty well balanced. But financially, it's way off here. And personal development's way out here. That's really good. But when it comes to my personal health, it's lousy. And then we connect all these dots. And if your life is in balance, you're going to have a circle. Everything, all these 8 items, your social life, your career life, your financial life, your personal development life, is going to be all pretty much in a circle. But what I find when I do this exercise with people, they're driving on wheels that can't drive. They're stuck. They're stuck because they're out of balance. It's either way too much work and not enough family, or it's either way too much partying and not enough working. We got to get this balance. That's number one. So I'm almost out of time here. I'm just going to tell you, secret number 2 that we talk is how to unlock a secret power within you that effectively eliminates bad habits and upgrades your mindset once and for all time. So if you take our masterclass, which is free, we'll send it to you for free. We're also going to tell you about our powerful app, the Creation Frequency app that we teach you how to use, that will really, really get you laser focused on what you truly desire. You only use it twice a day for 5 or 10 minutes, and you won't believe what will start to happen in your life. And the last secret that the marketing team put out for this masterclass that we delivered on, I believe, is the implicit law of the universe that enables you to finally switch on your inner drive, love yourself unconditionally, and bless you in your life beyond your wildest dreams. And that's what I call the law of reciprocity. You know, I was fortunate to have a lovely, beautiful, saintly mother, and that really taught me that if you want to have a blessed life, you need to give to others. You need to love others. You need to live the golden rule that Christ taught, which is to do unto others as you want others to do unto you. And so I just want to encourage you to find someone that you can give to, that you can lift up, that you can inspire, someone that's suffering perhaps, someone that you can, give an hour a week of your time to, or someone you can donate some money to that you know they're in desperate need and they really deserve a break. If you start doing this, one, the consciousness of the world will start to rise in positivity, into goodness, and that some of the darkness and the evil will start to dissipate, and the light will start to shine brighter. More importantly, you're going to feel amazing about you and your life, and you're going to be blessed beyond your wildest dreams. I say this all the time, but you cannot outgive God, and that is the truth. Well, that's another show in the books for The Power of Your Voice with Mike Murphy. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoy giving it to you. If you like the show, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends. We're doing this for you. We're trying to give good content that inspires, motivates, teaches how you can really create the life of your dreams. So until next time, go out there, live with passion, and create the life that you truly deserve, the life of your dreams.
Thank you for listening to The Power of Your Voice with Mike Murphy. This podcast is brought to you by Mike Murphy Unfiltered, The Creation Frequency, Mountains of Hope, and the Love from Margot Foundation. These sponsors are dedicated to helping you unleash your full potential and live a life of joy and abundance. If you enjoyed this episode, please visit our website at MikeMurphyUnfiltered.com and subscribe to our podcast.